allowing all the amazing growth that has taken place over in Nashville to happen, but still hang on to who they are. And the Fairground Speedway is part of Nashville. It's a year older than the Ryman Auditorium. It deserves to be preserved and saved. This is the last piece of the puzzle out at the fairgrounds that needs to be handled. And with this plan, you improve the experience in the neighborhood because, you know, we had one of the experts in the country come in and help us design a sound absorption wall. It will reduce the sound in that neighborhood by 50% because it's not like a highway wall that you see where it just bounces the sound to the other side. This one has perforated side and then absorptive materials in it, and then it's solid on the back. So the sound will go in and you trap a lot of it. So it's an improved experience for the neighborhood. And then we just get a restored and preserved racetrack. We're not developing anything. We're not building condos with this, nothing like that. This is really just about restoring that racetrack that's right there, and it deserves to be saved. And then all this plan is put together for it to be paid for by the users of the property.
Yeah, and Jerry, I look at it too as, you know, there's a beautiful soccer stadium, and I love the soccer team, and I'm glad they're here, and, you know, I think that facility is awesome. I want to see a whole complex that includes the racetrack of these state-of-the-art facilities. And so when I hear opposition and I hear people that, you know, supported the soccer team and getting that stadium, and now they're opposing fixing the racetrack, I just get very confused. So when you hear people that are opposing this, I mean, what is kind of the thing that comes to mind for you? Because like I said, I can't understand why they don't view this as a good deal.
You and me both. I honestly scratch my head a little bit too. I don't quite understand the opposition. I have to assume that, you know, in their mind, they want the racetrack to go away. And, you know, I think it's not going to happen. It's not the right thing to happen. This is a great way to preserve that racetrack. We love soccer also. We love the soccer team. We love what they're doing there. Don't quite understand why they're opposed to saving the racetrack. But, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. The other thing that I think folks should understand is this also helps with parking out there. So part of the plan is we redo the racetrack, so the inside part, and make it far more usable and user-friendly. Right now it's kind of undulated. It's just kind of been paved patchwork over the years, and it's kind of hilly in there.
Yeah.
This will level all that up, and we'll be able to park more cars really for the other events. So for soccer and other events, you'll have more parking and make that a better experience for folks.
Hear that? One thing that I've done, Jerry, is I made sure on this show and other platforms, watch the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro. That could be you, because what you all did with North Wilkesboro, I still can't believe, but it was fantastic. Fixing that place up, because they're like the fairgrounds has actually been operational. North Wilkesboro was closed and things growing in it, and, you know, for all practical purposes, dead, buried, and gone, and it got brought back to life. That could be Nashville. So I have tried to get people to pay attention to that and what it did for that community, because I think the same thing could happen here.
Absolutely. Absolutely could. I mean, we call that a resto mod. You know, it looks.
Oh, did we lose Jerry? Oh, there he is.
Nope. You hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, sorry about that. We call it the resto mod, you know, where you really are saving that racetrack. You're restoring it back to what it should be. It still looks old on the outside, but it's new on the inside. And you absolutely could have that same thing at Nashville.
Jerry Caldwell is with us. So tonight is the community meeting. What are the next steps after the event tonight?
Well, one other thing I also want to point out that I think some folks have been misinformed on is this is no more racing. We are not adding one day of racing. In fact, we're taking days where cars can be on the track down from what it currently is. So what we're talking about with a NASCAR race, when you hear bring back NASCAR, what we're talking about is one event every other year. That's all that is. That one NASCAR weekend in the contract, it says it would happen on average every other year. So next steps would be, we're going to have this tonight. There's a council meeting August the 1st. You know, we're in a bit of a situation with how we move this forward. Because of the way some folks have called certain meetings, they've tried to, I think, eliminate the path this cycle. But our belief is we're going to have a really strong showing tonight. We want to make sure people get the facts. Do your homework is what I would encourage folks to do. Just read about it. And I think you'll see that this makes a lot of sense. And then we're not going away. You know, whether it's in a few weeks we get this done or whether it's a few months we get this done, we believe it's the right thing for Nashville. And we're going to make sure that we continue to work to get this thing done.
Well, listen, I'm behind you guys 100%. I want to see this done. The first race I ever saw in my life was at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, and I want to see a NASCAR race again. So I'm looking forward to that day, and I'm going to remain optimistic. So thanks so much for doing this, and we will definitely talk soon and keep this thing going.
Thank you, Chase.
Absolutely. Jerry Caldwell, president, Bristol Motor Speedway, joining us. Again, you can meet at the Speedway at 4 o'clock at the fairgrounds, and then go over to the community meeting at 5 o'clock, which is at the Goalpost Club at Geodis Park. And so let's do this thing. Obviously, you know what side I'm on, but I am all about hearing both sides. And, I welcome anyone that is for it, against it, on the fence. Let's have a conversation. 615-737-1025. I know Tim Duggar, who is well in the NASCAR community, a country music artist, he's going to call in and talk about it a little bit. But I welcome your calls, your texts on the fairgrounds, 615-737-1025. This is a topic that's very, very close to me and important to me. And so let's hope that we can get this moved forward. We'll do that next here on the Chase McCabe Show, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Training camp is coming.
Go Titans on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Follow along as the Two-Tone Blue gets set for another season.
And really excited about where this is going to go.
New faces.
DeAndre Hopkins to the Titans.
Executive product Will Levis.
A new offense.
Yeah, Scar's get guard.
What will it all mean? Training camp coverage is presented by the Simmons Bank Open and by Harman Energy on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Baseball fans, your home for the best baseball action is 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan with the ESPN Game of the Week and the Nashville Sounds. It's all brought to you by Superbook Sports, the #1 sports book in Vegas. Download the Superbook app today.
Calling a criminal defense lawyer or a divorce lawyer, you may think it's the worst day of your life. It doesn't have to be. If you have quality, competent representation who can guide you through a complex system, we can do that for you. Despite if you've been arrested for a DUI or a robbery charge, whether or not you're going through a divorce or a post-divorce, or demanding your fundamental constitutional right to parent your children. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Genesis is actually a new beginning.
Genesis Diamonds owner Boaz Ramon talking about why it's called Genesis.
I love the symbolism of the name. It's a new beginning.
Boaz wanted the name of his company to mean something, to reflect his core values and the importance of starting relationships for people in love, as well as the relationship he wants with each and every customer.
It's a new beginning in their life for the relationship between us, the jeweler, the Genesis Diamond, and the customer, and it should last forever. Everything we do is for the customer.
Walk into Genesis and you can feel it. Genuine people who are solely focused on celebrating the best moments of your life.
It's not only my passion, it's my culture. Genesis is the book where God created the world, the day and night, the man and the woman. Every diamond engagement ring that we specially created for the customer is a new beginning for amazing, lasting relationship.
Come start your amazing, lasting relationship today at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You know why insurance companies use all those cute and funny characters? To distract you from realizing you're only getting one option. If you want to compare prices, you're forced to visit multiple websites just to get one quote at a time. But not with Xander Insurance, because they work for you. Xander is a broker that shops dozens of top companies to find the best competitive rates for the coverage you need, and they keep reviewing your policy every year to make sure you're getting the best value. They're always available to answer questions, handle problems, and make sure that when it comes to insurance, your life is simple and hassle-free. You even have direct access to their senior management team. If your current company or agent doesn't do this much for you, let Xander Insurance help. Compare rates online at Xander.com or call 800-356-1780 for that personal touch. When Xander works for you, you're going to see the difference. Again, that's 800-356-1780, or you can visit Xander.com with no characters needed.
You're listening to Chase McCabe.
He did not want to rehearse, and he wanted to leave as soon as possible.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. You know, speaking of racing, we'll have some driver interviews leading up to the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix presented by Lincoln Tech's NADC and the Nashville Sheriff. Big Machine Music City Grand Prix will be 3 days of racing, 3 days of music, and one huge weekend event. Just go to musiccitygp.com for tickets and get ready to experience Nashville's premier speed and sound event on August 4th through the 6th. Obviously, as I've mentioned several times, I love racing. NASCAR was probably maybe the Atlanta Braves and Dallas Cowboys were kind of the first sports or teams I gravitated towards, but NASCAR was right there. I would watch races with my dad and my uncle, and it started in the early 90s as Richard Petty was wrapping up his career. My dad was a big fan of his, but I was gravitated towards this guy that drove a black number 3 car that gave no bleeps and earned the nickname The Intimidator, and so I was hooked. And my dad took me out to a race at the fairgrounds, and what was funny, it was a late model race, and you know we got there and I saw a 3-car, and I was like, "Wait, cool, the 3-car! Like, is that Dale?" And it was Dale Jr. Driving, working his way up, you know, before he got to the Cup Series, and so it means a lot, you know, to see it. And Dale Jr. has been a big supporter of the fairgrounds. I understand whenever there is change, it's scary. But the deal is, as Jerry pointed out, like the track is there. The track is going to be there. And the fairgrounds has been revitalized. There's a beautiful soccer stadium. And look, I support the soccer stadium. I don't understand why they're not supporting the track. I don't understand why John Ingram, you know, came out with his comments and is supporting there's a group that has raised a lot of money that's in opposition of it. I don't get it. I don't. But again, I'm open to discussion. You know, if you're against it, you're welcome to call in and give your side, and we'll listen. And I'm not gonna, you know, I think the one thing that I hate about today is like whenever people disagree on something, you know, it's like it becomes a shouting match and, you know, bleep you and all those things. Like I'm not here to do that. We can we can disagree on something and have a discussion. I'm for it. Obviously, you know, I look at the financial plan and, you know, I think that it's good for the city. It takes a burden off the taxpayer. You know, and it's just so I feel like the opposition either, and again, this is my opinion, the opposition either doesn't understand the plan or, you know, they don't like racing, don't care about it at all. And then there's also a group of people that just like, I don't want to see anything different. I don't want to see anything new. It's just like the new Titans Stadium. Well, we don't need that. Eventually, yeah, we will, because it's going to cost more to renovate the one we have. And again, it's just you have one that's here. You have a track that is here, the track that is operational, a track that's not going to go away. Real quick, let's read a text. Thomas in Nashville says, Chase, thanks for having Mr. Caldwell on and spreading the real truth about the Fairgrounds Speedway. I'm an avid supporter, and like you, that is where I saw my first race when I was a kid, back when the big boys still ran here on Saturday night. I will be there to support this plan tonight and until they get it done. Thanks again for spreading the truth about something so near and dear to me. You're welcome, Thomas. Thank you for listening. A buddy of mine that is big in the racing community, Tim Duggar, is on the line with us, a country music artist, and Tim is a huge fan of the fairgrounds. And Tim, we just had Jerry Caldwell on talking about it. There's a big rally tonight and then a community meeting, and I know you and I have had many conversations about this. You've talked to people in the racing community that support it. I hope that, to use the pun, we're nearing the finish line.
Yeah, man. I'm. It seems like it's been a long process, and I was thinking about it this morning. I remember. I don't even know how I got it, why I was there. I remember years ago. This might have been 6-7 years ago. Being at a meeting when NASCAR was talking to the old, leaseholder of the racetrack, and there's been a lot of support behind this racetrack for a long time. And I'm not one that really there's not much that would get me to show up and really fight for. But I'm going to be there today, and I think Nashville's we've let enough stuff get away from us that makes Nashville Nashville, and we got a heck of a racetrack here. We need to turn over to the right people to make it happen.
Yeah, and I think you just used the right phrase, that we've let enough things get away from us. And I grew up here and remember when the stadium wasn't there, the arena wasn't there, you didn't go down Broadway at all. But the racetrack was there. I mean, it was over where it has been since 1909. And so I do think it's important to keep some history. I'm all about growth. I'm all about progression. But I feel like renovating the racetrack and making the fairgrounds area a top-notch spot would be good for Nashville. And so that's where I just, anyone that doesn't see that is where I get confused.
Yeah, I think – it's I've talked to some people that really, and I think a lot of it's understanding or just letting those emotions go and listening. You get racing, if you don't really follow it, it can be confusing. I get a lot of people go, well, there's a track in Lebanon. What's the big deal with this one? I think people here in Nashville that's been here, there was a time that they were talking about tearing down the Ryman and not using it anymore. I think if Nashville don't let Bristol and SMI take this thing over, it's going to be a really a bad day for that racetrack. And everybody's worried about traffic and all this. You got the soccer stadium there. Nobody knows how to do events better than SMI and Bristol. Mm-hmm. They have tracks in the cities. They have tracks out in the country. Parking does not scare them at all. They know how to run an event, and they also give so much back to the community. I think we'd be very lucky to have them involved here in Nashville.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree. And I asked Kyle Busch one time, if he thought, okay, could it work? You have racing out at the Super Speedway, which they just sold out this year for the Ally 400. Had a great race out there. And then, the fairgrounds. And he's like, absolutely, because you're going to get two different styles of racing, so you can bring in two different kinds of race fan. The old school, traditional short track lovers might go to the fairgrounds. The newer fans that are still learning and like the high speeds and some of the side-by-side stuff might like the Super Speedway. There's room for it because there's a huge thirst for racing in this community.
Yeah, man, we've with the IndyCar and NASCAR being here, we've turned into a race city, and people want to be here. There's a lot of race fans in this area. It just shows you. Everybody thought that track out in Lebanon would never come back, and that was a track that, I guess a lot of people were like, it came back cool. But nobody was really fighting for it like the fairgrounds, I'd say. So imagine if, this fairgrounds deal gets done, how exciting that could be for Nashville and for auto racing. And, with Wilkesboro, I was able to be there for the All-Star race, and I've never felt anything like it. That track being resurrected and coming back to life. So, the fairgrounds is still active and there's a lot of great racing going on. But could you imagine cup cars on that thing after they put the money into it and make it new again? It would be pretty special.
Tim Duggar is with us, and real quick, Tim, "Buy a Bar," that's your single that is out, which is a great song. I'm going to be honest with you; it's been stuck in my head the last few days.
We'll take it. Thank you.
Yeah, you just played the Opry last week too. What was that like?
Man, it's whatever a singer dreams it to be is it. This is my fourth time playing it. There was days I drove by Raleigh Parkway and saw the marquee and thought I'd never get to play it. So being able to play it for the fourth time the other night, but it's I get to tell people now that are struggling and dreaming of being there. Whatever you have to go through, the late nights at the bars or traveling up and down the roads, whatever you're doing, it's worth it to get to play and stand in that circle. So just keep digging. It lives up to the hype and 10 times more than you'd ever dream it could be.
Yeah, and I know people can see you as a part of the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix on August 6th as well. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, man, it's an exciting time here. We had a little bad weather around that race, but hopefully we get us a pretty weekend. And I know Matt Cruz and Jason and everybody with the Grand Prix, they're excited and got a lot of cool stuff coming up, around the Grand Prix and Nashville and IndyCar. So yeah, it's a fun deal.
I'm supposed to tell you that Big Joe loves you. So Joe Dubin saying hello.
Joe. He's a good one.
He is. He's the man. Hey, Tim, thanks for calling in, and we'll see you tonight.
Yes, sir. I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you.
All right, Tim Duggar talking about the fairgrounds, and a lot of people weighing in on it. And I think that I think it's going to get there. It's a long process, and it has been. But thank you for indulging me in the conversation on it, and we'll see what happens tonight with the community meeting and the support and the conversation about the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Coming up next, we'll get back into the NFL. A running back got a deal, but what does it mean for Derrick Henry? We'll discuss that next here on Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Experience the thrill at Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators. TennesseeAcura.com.
All of us at 102.5 and 106.3 The Game want to recognize our active military, veterans, first responders, and educators with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the land
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Keiser. The Tennessee Titans report the training camp today and start practicing tomorrow in preparation for the regular season. ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport weighed in on how GM Rand Carthon did in his first offseason in Nashville.
You look at what he did, didn't spend a whole lot of money. Went through, he played the long game and looked like he played it right, with the receiver position. And so many people had questions and complaints and everything, but I think you look at it, he did a great job bolstering the roster now.
And meanwhile, over in the major leagues, Sal Frelick remains hot after his call-up to the Milwaukee Brewers. He smashed his first career home run in the majors last night in a 3-2 win over the Cincinnati Reds. And the Nashville Sounds are on the road this week, taking on the Norfolk Tides. The action starts at 5:20 over on 94.9 The Fan. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
And a score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board. Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Nashville. The suit is in the building.
Acknowledge me.
Are you ready? Ready? This is Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Get back into the Titans here in just a second, but just saw this story about, let's see, Dan Wokey, I guess, putting this out. So Bronny James, son of LeBron James, this story was put out there, quote, yesterday while practicing, Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest. Medical staff were able to treat Bronny and take him to the hospital. He is now in stable condition and no longer in ICU. We ask for respect and privacy for the James family. We will update media when there is more information. LeBron and Savannah wish to publicly send their deepest thanks and appreciation to the USC medical and athletic staff for their incredible work and dedication to the safety of their athletes. Wow. Really scary, and hopefully everything is okay with Bronny James, LeBron's son. But really scary situation. If we see anything more on that, we'll let you know. And thoughts and prayers with him and the James family for sure. Titans they have reported a training camp. Mike Vrabel going to address the media at 11:30. DeAndre Hopkins at noon. But news broke this morning. Saquon Barkley gets a new contract. We know the saga there when it comes to running backs and playing on the franchise tag, and basically they couldn't get a long-term extension done. They missed that deadline. But he ends up getting a one-year deal that is slightly more than the franchise tag. Barkley and the Giants agreed to a one-year, $11 million contract that includes a $2 million signing bonus. So that gives him a little bit more than the guaranteed $10.1 million that he would have gotten by signing the franchise tender. So let's see, reading the story, the Giants agreed to add $900,000 in incentives so that Barkley can earn up to $11 million and to pay $2 million up front now, rather than make Barkley wait until the regular season starts to begin earning his salary. So I guess that was the compromise, but he can't sign a long-term contract until next offseason. And so this saga certainly continues. Jordan Renan, who covers the Giants, was on ESPN radio earlier today and talked about what it's going to take to get a running back paid.
You know what will help the running back position more than anything? They have this conference, this and that.
Right.
People are talking about they need to have some rules. One of these guys needs to win. All those guys in the call together, 0 Super Bowl appearances, 0 Super Bowl victories. One of these guys needs to win so that they could prove to general managers, you can pay a running back and still build a Super Bowl winning roster.
Great
and
point.
until
That's a
that
great point,
happens, they're not going to want to pay a running back.
I think that's a really good point, that you got to get one of these guys to get a little more cachet to be able to do this, even though I think they're certainly worthy. I mean, like, Derrick Henry is worthy of more because of what Derrick Henry brings to the team. And so how does this contract, $11 million a year, affect him moving forward? I mean, I've said it that I believe the best place he's going to get a deal next year is here. And it's probably going to be undervalued, but I think going to market, he's going to be even more undervalued because they're just going to look at, oh, he's probably beaten down and he's going to be 30 years old and yada, 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 so we're not going to pay him a whole lot. And at least the Titans know his value and know his worth as a person and as a member of the team, and can probably pay him a little bit more that way. I just think it's going to be something that doesn't go away for a while, and unfortunately, as we talked about yesterday, it's never going to be fixed. It's and Rand Carthon said it. The market kind of dictates that, and I don't think the market's going to change for running backs because teams are always going to view it as, I can go get a little less talent but also pay less money and put it by committee and get the same amount of production as I could from a Saquon Barkley or a Derrick Henry or what have you.
In that clip that we just played, there was something that I thought was very intriguing to go a little bit more on. It said which running back is going to be the one that wins a Super Bowl to show GMs that they are valued to get that paycheck. So my question to you, Chase, is which running back is that to you? Do you think it's somewhere out west, somewhere in the south? Where is it?
I mean, right now I'd say McCaffrey has the best shot at it. I don't think Josh Jacobs does right now. Realistically, I don't think Derrick Henry does right now today. I don't think Saquon does right now today. Now Dalvin Cook could be the interesting one wherever he ends up landing, if he jumps on a contender right away. So, I mean, right now I don't know if the odds are really in their favor. Chubb, I don't think Cleveland has a good chance right now. That's what's ironic. Like, all these guys are the best at their position, and they're playing for teams that aren't necessarily in the hunt. And I would say of all the teams I just named, the Titans are probably in the best position outside of McCaffrey in San Francisco. But the others, I think Henry's probably in the better position of all of them. And I wouldn't say that, while I think the Titans can win the division, I mean, again, I don't think they're in the Super Bowl window necessarily unless they get lucky. So that's how I'd answer it.
Okay. I'm trying to piece something together in my head here. Jared's saying a 12-5 season. This clip's mentioning which running back could possibly lead a team to a Super Bowl.
I mean, I guess it's possible. Anything's possible.
My next thing, we could tease to it, but could the Titans be the team? I know we've said they are not Super Bowl contenders yet, but if they get the right pieces, could this be the team this year where Derrick Henry just puts his stamp on things and kind of helps reset the running back market by winning a Super Bowl?
But I mean, yeah. Look, it all depends on how the chips fall. Like, if they win the division, okay, let's say Jared's right. They go 12-5, they win the division. If they're 12-5, they're probably, I mean, they're going to be at least a 4 seed at the very least by winning the division. They could be vying for the second or the third. It depends on what's Kansas City, what's Buffalo, what's Cincinnati, what are the Jets. The Jets are another one. But Buffalo and New York being in the same division, only one team's going to win the division, then the other one's going to be a wild card. So they'll be below the Titans. So that's and again, that's the matchup you probably would want to try to avoid in the playoffs. So it's you get the right draw, and all of a sudden you have a path. I mean, it's you hear coaches say it all the time. It's all about getting to the dance. So anything would be possible. And yeah, if he won a Super Bowl, then I think that does help the market for running backs, because then you can say that I think you can make an argument that Derrick Henry is of this generation, this era of the last 4 to 5 years, he's the best one, consistently. And so he could certainly make that argument, and maybe it would help reset the market and, whatever the market dictates. But there's a lot of what ifs there, and it's got to get to that point. Coming up next, talked about it with Joe earlier this morning when I was on Robbie and Rex Road, but the way too early 53-man roster discussion, I want to get into that a little bit next here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Football.
Players might end up not going to Alabama or Georgia.
Or the NFL.
I think that this team wins the AFC South.
Trevor knows. Join ESPN's Trevor Maddich every Tuesday at 4:30 on Stillman and Company as he gives his opinions on the latest from the gridiron.
I'm going to the team where I can get a ring.
Trevor Maddich brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, boys and girls, we are changing the game. Help your bets stay hot this summer at Superbook Sports. They are the most trusted name in sports gambling with a direct line to Las Vegas. And right now, when you use the promo code CHASE, C-H-A-S-E, that is my name, you'll score up to $250 with their first bet bonus, win or lose. Superbook will match your first bet up to $250 simply by using the promo code CHASE. Just download the app, enter that code, and you'll get that $250. You can bet on, obviously, there's a lot of baseball going on right now. We're just so close to the football season. You can hit futures bets that they have right now for both pro and college football. Just use my promo code CHASE when you sign up to get that $250. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. What's up? It's Chase McCabe, and I have been telling you about PhD Weight Loss for several weeks now, the program created by Dr. Ashley Lucas, the best-selling author. Listen, overall, I'm down about 25 pounds, and this is a great program because losing weight is not easy. That's why you have one-on-one coaching sessions. I talk to Rachel each week. She's great. She works me through my program, gives me what I need. We adjust my diet as we go. And that is how I'm getting the results, and you can too. With that weekly one-on-one coaching, you get the customized meal plans. And here's the cool part about this. If you choose to use their food, 85% of the food is provided for you at no extra charge. And the food is great. I love the cereals, the protein bars, the shakes, but they can also teach you how to use your own food as well. And remember, their new offer guarantee, if you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight, by the time your program is over, PhD will continue to coach you until you do. That is their offer guarantee. MyPhDWeightLoss.com is the website. Check it out, MyPhDWeightLoss.com.
312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago scratch every single day. And trust me, you can taste the difference. They've got deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, their Italian beef. You'll taste the freshness. Stop in for a pint of local beer and a slice of pizza, or order online at 312pizzaco.com. 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
3 days of racing, 3 days of music, one huge weekend event. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix is not just a race or a festival, it's an experience. Multiple music stations with Flo Rida, Vince Neil, Chris Jansen, Gavin DeGraw, and more. Fast cars going over 200 miles an hour. And a family fun zone with inflatables, Ferris wheels, kids games, and kid-friendly food trucks. Tickets and premium hospitality are on sale now. Go to MusicCityGP.com for tickets and get ready to experience Nashville's premier speed and sound event.
Hey, Tennessee! We're Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town. We listen to your feedback on our competitors, so we designed Zen Sports just the way you wish. Set favorites, search and sort bets, and earn real cash rewards, saving you time and money with every bet you make. Find the bets you want, not those distracting bets that seem too good to be true but rarely are. Best of all, withdraw your winnings in under 24 hours. So take control of your bets, because with Zen Sports, betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
This is Chase McCabe.
Good to meet you. You know why it's good to meet me? Because I'm smart and I'm right.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Joyland in East Nashville. Joyland burgers will melt in your mouth. The fries are crispy goodness, and the milkshakes are sure to satisfy any sweet tooth. Get half off a $30 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals while supplies last. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Talk to Jim Wyatt from TennesseeTitans.com coming up in just a few minutes. Get his thoughts on training camp as players report. Mike Vrabel will speak. DeAndre Hopkins will be introduced as a Tennessee Titan, and first practice will be tomorrow, which we will be at. So really looking forward to that. The 53-man roster discussion, the expectations for the Titans. I mean, it's all on, the table right now. Yesterday, had my weekly discussion with Jonathan Hutton from Outkick, and I asked him, the biggest questions going into training camp. A little bit of a longer clip, but this is how he answered it.
Yeah, I mean, it immediately goes to Hopkins and Burks, and how fast Tannehill gets a rapport with Hopkins. There have been camps, Chase, where, and I don't blame this mentality, but it just hasn't worked out. There have been camps where they have tried to keep their veterans healthy. It was the Julio Jones camp.
Mm-hmm.
Where they went down to Tampa and they played the backups, and the backups ended up playing the regular season anyway because everyone got hurt. Last year, more veterans played in the preseason. Everyone got hurt. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to the approach. They've got to play these guys. They've got to get in sync. There's kind of this. There's been this fog over. Okay, who is this team all off season? Or is this a team that's looking for 2024, 25 whenever the contracts expire and they're starting to really rebuild and have the new era because they've done the same thing in the draft. They drafted a backup quarterback. They drafted a backup running back. They've gone out and signed a free agent. We've seen this before. Okay, what's different? Who is this team? Henry's back. Tannehill's back. Okay, defense should be good. Now they have to gel, and this has to be a group and Vrabel does, I think, a good job this time of year of balancing the priority of just staying healthy for September, which is so difficult, but also making sure that you steal reps. You don't have to go full speed, but you can steal reps in a glorified walkthrough that's more of a jog and a full speed type mentality. They've got to get Hopkins in and going, and I think that's a no-brainer. Beyond that, the offensive line. And we're not going to know that until the joint practices. It's like Dylan Radin's his rookie year when he was moving around and all OTAs and mini camps. Man, this kid really good, And then they had that joint practice, and he was quickly a backup after that. You could tell who's ready and who's not, and I think the focus should be on the center position with Ben Jones not there and the communication up front. That is pivotal to what everything is going to do or not going to happen for this team, because you can have Henry, you can bring in Hopkins, you can do all these things. Can they protect their quarterback? It comes down to that, and those are the two areas I'm looking for. I think the defense is going to be okay. There's not a huge concern, even though we had the discussion if we're overlooking that area. There's so many questions on offense. We have to overlook defense because we have to find answers there, because that's holding them back, or it did last year. 16 to 18 points a game is pathetic. And it starts up front of the offensive line, and there have been changes. Even guys that they didn't want to have leave that were so crucial, like Ben Jones, are no longer there.
That was Jonathan Hutton yesterday on the show. Joins us every Monday at either 9:30 or 10:30, depending on what all is going on. And so it kind of leads me into the 53. And what is this roster going to look like when they kick the season off? And it honestly starts at the quarterback position, not, okay, who's the starter? We know who the starter is. We know that Ryan Tannehill is going to be the starter, but do they carry three? Do they carry both Malik Willis and Will Levis? I think the answer to that question right now, today, as it stands, is yes, that they will carry all three. Because you traded up in the second round for Will Levis, so you know he's going to be on the roster. I don't think they can sneak Malik Willis through to the practice squad either. So I think all three make the team. Then the running back position, Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears, who was a third-round pick this year. Do you carry 3 or 4? I think it's 4. Hassan Haskins is kind of a question mark because he's got some off-the-field stuff that he's dealing with. he played some special teams last year. And again, I mean, there were times where you saw some good. You just didn't see a whole lot. So maybe he gets another chance. But does the off-the-field stuff affect his status with the team? If that's the case, then I think it could be somebody like Jonathan Ward. I think Julius Chestnut is there right now. I have him on the team right now. Again, we saw, what he can do as a kick returner and also depth at running back. So I think that would Hassan Haskins or Ward and then Henry, Spears, Chestnut is kind of how I would view it. I think 6 receivers is where they're at. TD has DeAndre Hopkins, Traylon Burks, Chris Moore, Kyle Phillips, NWI, and Racey McMath. That's probably the 6 I would go with right now. So I agree with TD on that. I think there's 4 tight ends: Chig, Josh Wiley, Trevin Wesco, Kevin Rader, because you can use a kind of an H-back guy. So, I think that's certainly where they can go. Offensive line, though, do you need the extra offensive line? TD has 8. Brunskill, Skoronski, Dillard, Aaron Brewer, Jalen Duncan, Jamarco Jones, Corey Levin, Jordan Roos. I think that, if they end up signing somebody, which, I feel like they're going to, I'm a little surprised. I'm wondering, tomorrow when Rand Carthon talks, or maybe Vrabel will be asked about it today, George Fant, what could happen there. But kind of surprised that they didn't sign anybody. So you're probably taking an offensive lineman away with the extra quarterback. D-line play, TD has 6, and I know Joe's going to have a 53-man. This is going to change a lot, with some of the guys towards the end of the roster. You're going to have some camp darlings that come out and, kind of get people's attention. I agree with Hutton that I think the defense is going to be okay. I think that the secondary is a question. Like TD has Fulton, McCreary, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Elijah Molden, Trey Avery, Chris Jackson making it, and then also Byard, Hooker, Shy Carter, and Josh Thompson. And Thompson, is one that I think just got hurt. But I think that's going to be the biggest question mark of, can the secondary carry their weight and stay healthy? I mean, that's another thing. They got to stay healthy. And then he has Caleb Shudak winning the kicking battle with Ryan Stonehouse and Morgan Cox. I would say right now that's kind of where I'm at. We had a texter earlier asking if who the kicker will be. I can't do another year and season of having my heart broke because of kicker. So I agree. I agree with that. Got to get that. Chip from Mount Juliet. I think Willis could be kept on the practice squad. He showed nothing last year, a draft overhype. I get that. He was rushed into a situation he wasn't ready for, but he had to be because he was the backup. I wonder if there are teams that look at him and go, maybe there's untapped potential, and so if you try to sneak him through in the practice squad, he gets claimed.
Because let's all remember, he was a first-round talent in his respected year draft. And then when he slipped to the 3rd round, people were like, okay, something must be interesting here. Why is he dropping so much? So at this point, yeah, teams are definitely going to be looking at Malik Willis's eye candy of, maybe we need to try this Jolly Rancher. Let's see if we can get a little extra out of it.
Yeah. So I think that it's too early to tell. Let's see some training camp practices and let's see some preseason games and see how he does. If there's a lot of improvement, then I think they're just going to carry 3 quarterbacks and take away from another position. That's what I certainly think could happen. Unnamed texter, Chase, I'm scared to death of injuries again this year. What do us Titans fans fans do if they go through 100 guys again this year? I'm worried about that too. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say what's in my head, but like, I'm worried about one of the guys we've talked about a lot getting hurt. And, you can't live in that fear. And, I think it's important for Vrabel to put in some of these guys in the preseason, especially, to build rapport between Tannehill and Hopkins. I want to see that. But, it's certainly a concern. There's There's no doubt, and it's a valid concern as well. The Game Summer Ticket Tour is headed to Homegrown Tap Room and Kitchen located at 2720 Old Lebanon Road this Friday afternoon from 2 to 6. Come eat, drink, hang, and leave with a pair of free Sounds, Preds, and Big Machine Music City Grand Prix or concert tickets. You can also sign up for the grand prize, which is Titans tickets, Preds tickets in the 501 Club, and a 2-night stay at Opryland Hotel with access to sound waves. Black Tie Moving delivers the Game Summer Ticket Tour. For more details, visit thegamenashville.com/tour. Coming up next, we talk to Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com. Get his thoughts on training camp. We'll do that next. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Nashville's best deal of the week is Joyland in East Nashville. Joyland is a fun new concept by celebrity chef Sean Brock, inspired by his love for cheeseburgers, shakes, buttermilk biscuits, fries, and fried chicken. Get half off a $30 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals and enjoy the best burger in town. Find some joy today and eat Joyland for half off with Nashville's best deal of the week. That's thegamenashville.com/deals.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
It's back to school time. Check out the Stars Nashville Thrives tent at the Back to School event in Madison on Saturday, July 29th from 3 to 6 at the El Patron Event Center at 709A Rivergate Parkway in Goodlettsville. And in Nashville on Sunday, July 30th from 12 to 3 at Coleman Park, 384 Thompson Lane. There will be school supplies on a first-come basis. Bring your unused medications and safely dispose of them in the drug take-back box. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Nashville's Best Deals is a great place to save cash fast. Get up to half off or more on dining and entertainment at thegamenashville.com/deals. Check back often for new featured deals and save money now at thegamenashville.com/deals.
What is that?
My mortgage rate detector. I made it out of an old altimeter alarm. With Navy Federal Credit Union's no refi rate drop option, we could get a lower rate without refinancing our mortgage. So I'm keeping a close eye on mortgage rates. They're dropping. Call Navy Federal.
Buy a home, and if rates drop, you could lower your rate and save thousands. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to approval and eligibility requirements. Learn more at NavyFederal.org.
It's the latest social networking thingy. We are all over social media. Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game. You can follow me at Chase on Game. Also on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville and at The Chase McCabe. See, aren't we cool?
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
It is Chase McCabe here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Titans reporting to training camp. Mike Vrabel will speak in about an hour. Then DeAndre Hopkins will talk as well. Say hello to Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com, who's, I assume, over at the facility right now, eagerly awaiting the head coach to address the media for the start of training camp. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, the guys are here. I'm looking at the window now. Guys are doing the conditioning test, and then Vrabel will talk, as you mentioned, in an hour. So fields are painted, at least most of them are painted, and players are in the building, coaches in the building, and it's about go time. So it'll be September the 10th before we know it.
I had an opportunity to go to an event yesterday that Rand Carthon, Titans GM, was speaking at, and so I had a few minutes to talk to him, and still getting to know him, as he gets settled in here. But one of the first things out of his mouth was, really excited we got DeAndre Hopkins signed this morning, and then the news was released that D-Hop is officially a Tennessee Titan. We'll hear from him as we mentioned, but this, to me, Jim, is a game changer for them. You have Tim Kelly that's coming in with his offense and obviously the pieces that we knew were here, but how much does the addition of Hopkins change this offense and the weapons available to Ryan Tannehill?
Well, I think it changes it, for a number of reasons. I mean, it impacts the whole receiver room and a group that we all talked about being inexperienced guys with a lot to prove, and not really a group that scares you a whole lot based on what they've done so far. Now all of a sudden you got a guy who's perennial Pro Bowler, guy who's played in the league for a long time, still regarded as one of the top receivers in this league. Now you got him in that room, and I think it makes everybody better. It takes pressure off Traylon Burks. It takes pressure off Kyle Phillips. It takes pressure off Chris Moore, Nick Westbrook-Akina, and all those guys kind of bump to a different level. Because you're going to be counting more on Hopkins. It changes things for Derrick Henry, changes things for Ryan Tannehill, and I think it makes the whole offense, look different. Now, he's got to stay healthy. We've been through this before. I think it's unfair, though, that people want to bring up Julio Jones or Andre Johnson or Randy Moss just because those guys didn't work out. They think the same thing's going to happen. I think, DeAndre Hopkins is different. Still, though, he has to stay healthy, but he's hungry, looks good, and sure seems like he's happy to be here.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, because Mike Vrabel said it. He wants players that want to be here, and the fact that you got a guy the caliber of Hopkins that he's now shown that this is where he wants to be, back in the AFC South, a division that he knows quite well. I mean, that kind of attitude is contagious, especially with the younger players.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a situation where nobody else wanted him, and so this is where he ended up. I mean, he had some other teams interested, and I think if he had waited longer, maybe more teams would have been interested. But I got a chance to talk to him yesterday, and the thing that was very clear to me is that this is a place from the very beginning. He said it when the offseason started. He thought he might get traded away from Arizona. Tennessee's a place where he thought it'd be a great place for him to end up. And then talking about Vrabel, he said Vrabel's the kind of guy that kind of kept in touch with him throughout his career, even though he's a defensive coach. When he was in Houston, he still had a good relationship with him there. He goes on to Arizona, and I think, throughout that time period, I think that Vrabel made him feel important and made him feel like he cared about him. And so he wants to be here with Vrabel, mentioned his connection with Tim Kelly too, and just how comfortable that makes him. Said he has worked out with Derrick Henry in the past, knows him well, and I think he feels like he's in a good spot here in Tennessee, and that is important because you want a guy that wants to help you win, wants to help his other teammates, and sure seems like he's willing and excited about doing that.
Talking to Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com, covers the team and has for a very, very long time. What do you think we're going to see with the offensive line? I know that they're still figuring out the right tackle spot. There's some in-house candidates. They've worked out maybe some guys. Do you think we could see some movement on that as training camp gets underway?
Maybe, but this is tricky. And I always knew it would be because I've seen, I saw the George Fant visit, and I've seen interest in other guys. And before that even happened, the first thing I thought of is this is going to be a tough one to figure out because you're looking for a guy, I think, to come in here and start 6 games, and then I would think that Nicholas Petit-Frere will get his job back. There's no guarantee of that, but when I saw the Petit-Frere suspension and know that he's going to be able to work with the team in camp and he's going to have to leave, I'm thinking, okay, this team's in an interesting spot because you're not looking for a full-year starter. You're looking for a part-time starter. So when you start talking about free agents, what's that contract going to look like? These guys want to come in here and get paid a big contract, and then, if you're on the roster for week one, a veteran, your salary is guaranteed for the entire season. So, I mean, there's a lot of logistics and a lot of particulars you have to work through on free agents. So I don't know how that will end up. What a free agent's looking for money-wise may be different than what the teams want to offer them, again, because it's for a part-time role. Then you got to start thinking about options in-house, and it's not a great situation. This team's didn't have a lot of depth there, a lot of guys who had worked together in the past. They were just trying to gel during the off season. You hate the thought of moving a guy temporarily, but there are options. And Brunskill, a guard, could bump out. Skoronski could bump out and try it. Got some other guys in the mix who have done it before that maybe you consider Jamarco Jones, but I'm curious. That's one of the things when camp starts, I'll be looking to see just where they start and where they end up going.
Yeah, and the other part of it too, Jim, is they and Vrabel's talked about this, that they released some veterans that have been here a long time. Ben Jones is the first one that comes to mind, and when I looked at leader of the offensive line, it was the guy wearing number 60. Now you have guys that are coming in from the outside that were signed as free agents. You have young guys. I mean, who in your mind can kind of step up and take that role? And, could it be more of a process in that situation when it comes to leadership on the offensive line?
Yeah, I think it's a process. I think Aaron Brewer, your center automatically kind of becomes, he's calling plays and he's trying to get you lined up, and he's got just a natural role there. And when you're Aaron Brewer working behind Ben Jones, it's different. Like, you're deferring to him every day because he's as you mentioned, he's kind of your leader of that group. And I think Aaron Brewer kind of steps up, has more of a leadership role moving forward, and we'll just have to see how some other things develop. I mean, Brunskill's a veteran. He's been around a while. I think he's kind of got those qualities some, and after that, Petit Ferrier again suspended. Skoronski, a rookie, that puts you in a tough spot, and then you're looking for other guys to kind of emerge and kind of feel comfortable in that role as you move forward.
Jim, how much have you seen Shane Bowen kind of evolve and grow into his role as the defensive coordinator